Now the story of a wealthy family who lost everything, and the one son who had no choice but to keep them all together.
Freddie J. I came into this world as a reject. Look into these eyes, then you'll see the size of the flames. Dwelling on the past, it's burning up my brain. Everyone that burns has to learn from the pain. Hey, I think about the day my girlie ran away with my pay. When fellas came to play, now she's
Heyo, welcome back once again. It is the Orioles Spastics, the one and only Orioles baseball / Arrested Development fan podcast. Dean Eastlake here, joined today just by Charlie Hoppus at this moment.
Hey.
And this is a special podcast for us. We are going to focus purely on Arrested Development because it is here. The day is here.
It's like Christmas, Dean. It's like the best Christmas of all the Christmases that I've ever had, all in one.
So we were a little bit fooled by the powers that be at Netflix. We were anticipating a 12:01 a.m. Eastern Time release on Sunday, and it turned out to be Pacific Time.
That was disappointing.
Very disappointing. It was out of our scope there.
Yeah.
We couldn't quite do it that late.
I had a wedding. Dean had things. It's all right. We're doing it now.
We're doing it now. So we're going to do, just as we promised in our last pod, we're basically going to watch 5 episodes, and we do recap next 5, and then we'll do just a full season recap. So don't worry about spoilers or anything. Before we talk about it, you'll know the episodes that we're recapping. So if you've only watched the first 5, you can listen to the first segment of the podcast. But what are we trying to do with this podcast, Charlie?
Well, I think that watching it, we'll find out. This may be a very short episode. This may be really long. Who knows what sort of twists and turns the writers will have in store for us. I'm excited.
It's true. We may have guests on to share their thoughts.
We could.
It could just be us.
We could have Dean's wife on. Who knows?
That could be fun. I don't know. Do we got anything else? We just want to get to it?
Well, yeah, I before we press play on this, I just want to... It would feel wrong to not mention that we are in a little bit of grieving here at Orioles Spastics.
Oh,
Jim Johnson, 4th blown save in 5 attempts. I don't want to talk about it. I need to think about it a little bit more before we delve in. But... it's not all fun and games. Baseball and Arrested Development, they're dangerous things. Someone's bound to get hurt eventually.
It's true. We thought we were done talking about JJ for the year, but looks like we'll be headed back that direction. All right, sit back and relax. The next time you hear our voices, we will have a new Arrested Development under our belts. So we'll see you on the other side.
On the other side.
Come on, so you can take that cookie and stick it up your hair. Stick it up your hair.
So here we are, the day of the recording. It's been, 8, 9, 10 days since Arrested Development first came out. We made a lot of promises. We kept none of them. Until today, we are here to record our thoughts about the new season of Arrested Development. I am joined, Dean Eastlake here. I am joined by a huge cast of fans of Arrested Development, of friends, of outcasts, people who will open up their minds about the great series that is known as Arrested Development in Season 4. So first of all, you may have heard this name before. He is the author of the greatest intro music in podcasting history, Mr. Jeff Waters. Did you not listen?
He's not there.
All right. Moving on.
Hello?
It's time for you.
Sorry, my phone cut out. Is this I don't know what's going on. I was talking and then everyone started laughing. Can you hear me?
Now we can.
Just introed you. You have 10 seconds. And Jeff Waters.
Hello, everyone. This is Jeff Waters. I am a new Baltimore transplant, and I have watched a few minutes of Arrested Development so far, and I'm happy to give plenty of analysis on that and plenty of thoughts on the episodes I have not yet seen. So here we go.
Excellent. Thank you, Jeffrey. Also joining us, a name you probably know very well. It was the highlight of our podcasting career so far. Mr. Ben Fisher.
Greetings, Orioles Spastics Nation. Ben Fisher reporting here from my love seat in my living room in Nashville, Tennessee. Happy to
In the
be
bar.
here again.
And as always, original Spastic founding member Chris Knightsey.
Oh, hey guys! You may remember me from episodes 1 through 7, or yeah, 1 through 1 through 6. Yeah, I wasn't on 7, so if 7 was your first podcast, then welcome. My name's Chris. I'll be with you all evening. Also, I am reporting live from Turds in Mount Vernon.
Nice. And last but certainly not least, Charlie Hoppus.
Hey, really excited to make our Arrested Development themed Orioles podcast a Orioles themed Arrested Development podcast today.
Mm-hmm.
Really looking forward to hashing out probably, one or two details with Jeff and really getting into the nitty gritty with the rest of you.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, we'll
Jeff, what
apologize.
exactly did you watch?
I watched the first 3 episodes, and then I watched I think it's the 8th episode, whatever one is Lucille's.
Why did you
I
do
realized that doesn't make any sense, but I was clear that I would be on this podcast and that I would be ill prepared. So that's what the fans want, I think. They want someone like me.
Are you going to give a reason why? Like, why from 3 to 8?
Yeah, so I started watching the series and was not blown away by it. I did not dislike it, but it wasn't really doing much for me. And I love Lucille's character, and because they had done the one episode sort of per person, I decided to kind of skip ahead a little bit and see if that would save it a little bit for me, and it did to some extent. But then I went on vacation, and I have not really been able to continue watching. And I hope to do that in the next day or two. So I'm a little behind, but I have plenty of opinions. So yeah, that's sort of the rationale for me. I know it doesn't make much sense, but deal with it.
Okay.
Jeff is also coming to us from.
That's me.
From,
Don't acknowledge
that
it. Don't acknowledge it.
Turds is being rated.
I live right on this busy freaking
Well-
street, and there's so many ambulances and fire trucks.
What are on those streets, Charlie?
Ambulance.
Well, I don't know why we felt the need to go there, but longtime Spastics listeners will know that I every now and then will mispronounce one of our second basemen or a top pitching prospect or
Guzman.
anyone around the league really, and the occasional word. But the one word that I really can't say without spending a lot of time thinking about it is that car, the truck thing that takes sick people to the hospital. I call it an ambulance.
Okay. Thanks for those opening thoughts, Charlie.
Yeah.
Well, the anticipation was great. It came upon us. First of all, it came upon us at 3 a.m. Eastern Standard Time because 12 Pacific. Who would have thought that was going to happen?
Right?
So first of all, it started off unrealistic, which is why we're coming to you with this podcast very late. We have illusions of grandeur watching every single episode and doing podcasts in between, and hours turned into days, and days turned into 10 days. And it was hard booking our guests, but we're here with you now to unload everything. So let's just get down to it. We said we'd bring strong opinions to this. We'll look at the first 5 episodes in a nutshell. Let's do it.
I hated it all.
Well, the first 3 episodes. Caveat.
I hated all 3 of the first episodes.
Why?
No.
It's
Hey,
a wrong
I'm
opinion.
bringing strong opinions, which is what I was asked to do. It was all absolutely terrible. I'm just kidding. It was okay. I had a really hard time with the one character per episode bit, which is I knew about that going into it, but so much of what I love about the show was all the family interactions, and so especially the first episode, watching like Michael sort of be kind of pathetic for an entire episode was kind of hard for me to do. I just wanted to see a lot more happen, but there were still some funny parts. Didn't hate it.
I thought that people would find that endearing, the fact that Michael finally wasn't this solid rock guy, always the upstanding guy. He finally gets exposed as just being like another Bluth.
I mean, I can see that. It's not how I first viewed it at all.
I agree with Jeff.
Ugh.
Yes, I'm very disappointed. I've watched I think up to 8 right now, but it's just
Show off. Get out of here.
It's so slow to develop. All the jokes take forever. Like the punchlines come in so they're like set up in 1, 2, 3, and 4 episodes 1, 2, 3, and 4. and they finally the punchlines at like episode 6 or 7 or something. So I don't know. It's a lot slower for me, and I'm not really digging it.
I mean, probably in 5 or 6 years we'll all think that it's genius, right? And we'll want season
Maybe.
5.
What's the watchability? I think Charlie and I maybe touched on it a little bit before, but I think when you say the punchline is delivered late, I think it's actually I think the jokes are set up in episodes 7, 8, and 9, and the punchline is actually back in episode 2, 3, and 4. It's just the rewatchability of these is going to be just as much as the first 3 seasons, but in a different way, and how they're piggybacking even more off of each other. I encourage multiple views. Obviously, it's Arrested Development.
Yeah, sure.
I think that for me, I watched with Dean and some other people at least the first couple episodes. We were sort of awkwardly giggling at the first episode and maybe the second or third also. And by about the 4th or 5th, we started to get some of the jokes that were in the first episode.
Right.
And I mean, and those episodes towards the middle were a little bit funnier because there was a little bit more context. I would say that each episode, for the most part, got better and better as more and more context was provided. It's sort of a weird framing for a comedy show that it's sort of set up like Lost, or I don't know. It's sort of hard to follow the timeline a little bit. I thought it was really interesting, and I also started to watch it a second time, and it's immensely more enjoyable the second time. And there's some parts of episode 1 that I was laughing so hard I was peeing myself, and
Messy.
Charlie, I'm really sorry to hear that.
Well, there's some bladder issues.
Okay.
Nothing to
Sorry,
call
buddy.
an ambulance over, but
Oh.
but yeah, it was just set up so that it's. I mean, you see it. It's existing all in one plane, and so the first episodes are definitely going to suck. There's no context.
What do you guys think about through the first 5 episodes, actually through the whole series, but especially through the first 5 episodes, a lot of the jokes are kind of retreads from the first 3 seasons. I definitely have my opinion on these, but I feel like there's mixed opinions on those. What do you think about the retread, the jokes?
I think it's absolutely fantastic, and especially I'm also, like Charlie, going through it a second time now and picking up on those references to the first 3 seasons on my second viewing of this 4th season. Just kind of adds to the depth and rewatchability of the show. I love it. I like that they're not repeating word for word, but they're doing kind of clever takes off of the old jokes. I love it.
Yeah, I agree with Ben. I mean, some of the other shows that I enjoy watching. Some of my favorite parts of those shows are sort of the flashbacks and the sort of inside jokes. So that in that way, I like when they refer back to some of those jokes in older episodes. You know, it's kind of like a fist bump to those of us who have watched it over the years. I thought they were all really good when they did sort of reference those back in the past.
That's true. I don't know if you can really jump into season 4 as a new watcher of Arrested Development and really get anything out of it.
No,
Well-
I think you'd probably think it was stupid.
Well, that's why the original series failed, because they couldn't attract
Yeah, that's right.
new watchers, because every episode was just building on all the rest of the episodes.
And it kind of season 4 kind of reminded me of the second part of season 3, or like the whole thing with the MRF. Like I felt like there was something going on that I wasn't quite sure of, and each episode kind of like it was like plot based almost, and the plot was the thing that was funny about it. And I think that episode 4 is kind of a reiteration of that. It's kind of like the plot itself is kind of the running joke. So I think Charlie, you said before, like it's not as densely packed with like jokes, like line after line after line, but the plot itself is kind of like the joke throughout. I don't know, just we keep saying rewatchability, and it almost sounds like an excuse. Is it an excuse? We keep saying you got to watch it over and over. Now that I'm hearing myself say that, I'm wondering.
No, I don't think it's an excuse, because the first time you pay attention to the plot and try to catch the obvious jokes and maybe even some of the not obvious jokes, but on your second and third time you start reading the posters in the background and seeing the signs and what letters are being
Right.
covered up here and there, and it adds so much to it.
I do find myself pausing and rewinding to look at the posters. They're so good. I also I don't know if we want to get into specifics. Maybe we can do that here in a little bit. We can kind of talk about maybe our favorite moments so far or whatnot. All right, well, I guess it seems kind of obvious right now that we're going to throw out this whole 5 episodes and steps thing. I don't know if that's working out too well. A lot of new characters in the 4th season, which I think makes it a lot of fun. So let's go ahead and say our favorite new character from the 4th season.
On the count of 3.
1, 2, 3. Job.
Love.
What? New character.
He's been redefined.
No.
He's the Christian magician. I wanted to say musician. Favorite new characters? Nobody?
Herbert Love.
I'm excited to watch more and more episodes so I can memorize some of his quotes. They're so good.
My favorite line of his was when he and Lindsay are meeting Michael and Rebel for dinner, and the two women are getting angry, and he goes, "I guess the special tonight is Red Snapper." He's awesome.
Hussein Obama Llama Wama Jama. I think those have pretty good potential.
Can we acknowledge the birds that are chirping in someone's
Yeah.
background? Because
That's
Steve,
mine.
is that you?
It's
Okay.
pleasant.
Those are the
Close the
Orioles.
window.
Those are the
It's so hot. Oh God, I can't.
those are the
Oh.
Orioles that are around us always.
Yes.
Okay.
How
There
dare
you go.
you try to quiet the great Oriole?
The great Oriole within us all.
What do people think about young Lucille and George Bluth?
I hate him.
I like it.
Oh,
I liked
look at that.
I liked Lucille. I thought that Kristen Wiig was funny, but
I don't like Seth Rogen.
yeah, I didn't. He didn't do it for me, but I like Kristen Wiig.
you had 10 seconds of him.
Too much.
I did love Lucille as the Grinch. That was hilarious.
That was really good. I like both of those actors a lot, but I wasn't really vibing on it. They had flashbacks in the original series, and they weren't with different actors.
Well, how do you suggest they do that, Charlie?
Well, however, they
Go
did
back
it
in
in
time?
the first 3 seasons.
I liked it. I thought it was good. I think at first I was kind of annoyed by the new Lucille because you could tell she was trying to like replicate her
Oh, I
mannerisms.
like that.
But then like I realized I was like, oh wait, those are her mannerisms because that is Lucille. So it was like I had to do a little switcheroo. I started to really like her and the things that she did.
I thought they were both fine. The part that I liked about them most was I thought they both did a really good job of, like you guys said, replicating their mannerisms. I thought Seth Rogen did a really good kind of like deadbeat, no emotion George, and
What if
Kristen Wiig did the nice like weird blinking and mouth.
The young
shapes.
Barry Zuckercorn.
Yeah, so
Oh man, that looks like Darth Barry Zuckercorn.
I heard that it's
I love that.
I heard that it's Henry Winkler's son, like actual son.
Oh
I
no
heard that
way!
too, yeah.
He did look so much like it. Oh, he was so funny. I really liked that.
I also really liked him. He was my
Did this-
favorite.
Wait, was he your favorite? Is he your favorite new character?
I think he's probably my favorite new character. I know he was pretty brief. he
Everything
had me
rhymes.
laughing so hard because he was just Barry exactly.
Actually, there's one thing I meant to bring up before. In the first 2 to 3 episodes, how weird was it to look at Lindsay?
Oh
Yeah, it was.
God.
There.
I couldn't
She did
figure
a
it out.
nose
Like in the
job?
first episode, I thought that it was a different actress, and they were like
Oh yeah,
dubbing over her
Yeah.
voice. I was like, it sounds so much like her, but
I-
it looked.
I had to
couldn't
look
tell
her
if she
up.
was older or younger or like different. I couldn't figure it out. I
had-
still don't know.
Yeah, I had to look it up.
At one point, like just the way that she had her hair, her forehead looked so large. It just did not seem like her. And
Whoa.
it looked her nose looked kind of funny at one point too. There, I said it.
Well, she already had a nose job. I mean, they
Yeah.
cover that in multiple episodes.
So I read an article. I read an article today talking about this issue and about how like we apply different standards to female actors as we do to male actors, and like kind of the inherent sexism in there. And like they talked about how Tobias put on so much weight between the first 3 seasons and the 4th
yeah.
season, and nobody's like in an uproar about that. And that's interesting to think about this in like a larger social context, I think. Also,
We're all
when she had a big
sexist.
forehead, I read that she was wearing a wig, and that's why it looked like that.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, that was that first scene, right? She was wearing a wig, and it just looks so weird.
Yeah, Tobias, you could tell he was chunky. Michael definitely looks old. He's just like when they do the flashbacks, you can really tell he kind of has the same. Feel like Lindsay's face just looks different. Michael looks the same, just older.
Does anybody think Lucille looks a little funny looking too?
Whoa, did you crawl into a cave?
I think Lucille just looks older. I mean,
Maybe
I
it's
thought
about
her
large.
nose looked smaller. I don't know.
But I will say, George Michael or what is his name?
Michael Cera.
Michael Cera.
Michael Cera. He definitely, I think he aged the worst. He's such a weird looking
He's got such a
person.
funny face. He doesn't have that little chubby face anymore.
I guess it was nice. It was good chub, but now it's just weird.
Yeah,
I love-
the bar was low already, and then it just got bad.
See, I don't want to get into like bashing how they look.
Sure.
It was more of just like it was
That's
such
all
a
we're
drastic
doing.
change for me.
I'm-
Is all that I'm.
I
getting at.
really, really loved all the references to the fact that everyone gets him confused with the person that was in The Social Network. That was excellent. I love that at one point his roommate is suing him.
What about who do you think did like I think some of the characters kind of redefined themselves a little bit. Or who do you think did the best coming back of the old characters? I would say great, no, I forgot her name. Kitty. I thought when I first saw Kitty and like how aggressive she was and how she like was perfectly back into her old character, and you could tell that she had like a new position of power like within the show, but I think she like carried through exactly what she used to be and brought like something a little bit new, and she like looked the same compared to like how everyone else did. So I think when I saw her I was like, oh, this feels like the old Arrested Development again. It feels just like it was.
I felt the same way about George and Michael. I thought that, like, especially that the first episode when I felt like he sort of continued right into his role, but without it being too redundant. I felt like it was, I think it was nuanced enough, but I think I would need to watch it again to specifically identify how. But I
Or
thought,
watch it once.
okay, I'll just stop. I'll stop here. But yeah, I felt like when I watched it, I just thought that I thought that he did a good job of sort of jumping right back into the role. I felt like I was just watching the same old George Michael, just a little bit older.
I felt that way about Maybe also.
Ooh.
I felt like Maybe was. You disagree?
Yes. I don't know. I thought she just seems so much older. She seems like she aged more than anybody else.
Oh, really? I don't think so.
To me, I thought.
Oh. I thought she aged the most, but I thought same. I think she was like the same old character, and I thought she did really well. She was actually maybe one of my favorite characters. Her episode was pretty good.
I don't think I'm there yet.
I liked hers too. Also, she encounters some pretty serious. A couple of them end up in some serious trouble by the end of the series.
Oh, you're ruining it for me. Okay.
Well, I mean, that's what happens.
Well, oh
when
yeah,
you
we should
don't
have said at the
watch
top of the
Arrested
show.
Development for 8 days after it
Oh
comes
my
out.
God.
Spoiler alert. We should have said that. Spoiler alert. There will be spoilers in this podcast.
I'm also about to give a spoiler alert, so Chris and
Uh-oh.
Jeff might want to
Get my headphones
Okay.
out.
The
for a
last
second.
15, not episode 15. I
in
hope.
5,
Save it.
4, 3, 2, 1. But Charlie, your brother-in-law, Gabe Fickett, called Maybe being the shaman without
Oh, no
having
way.
seen it. I was so amazed.
Wait, he hadn't seen it?
No, he just saw the first
Whoa.
one, and he knew it without it like having been revealed. He still hasn't seen the episode.
Yeah, he's destroying his podcast.
What? Is that someone's heartbeat?
Jeff, stop. He's taking out his headphones. And now he's
Sorry.
dog.
I finally decided to get out of my car and walked into my house.
There's an awesome feature. There's an awesome feature that's the mute button.
That was a good point. That was destroyed by Jeff Waters.
Sorry, I'm doing this on my phone. I don't know how to do this.
So am I, Jeff. I've been doing it for like 8 episodes on my phone.
So, this is my first episode. Get off my balls.
All right, we have what about favorite cameos? A lot of new cameos.
I got a favorite cameo, I guess. I liked actually in the first episode there were like the Workaholics crew was that was pretty hilarious.
That's true.
Seeing all three of them, and they all had at least Blake and Anders had these. Well, Blake had that mustache, but Anders had that gross mustache. But I think they did pretty well. It was kind of a little cool little cameo.
As a Mad Men fan, I'm pretty psyched about John Slattery's cameo as the strung out guy in the mud hut. It's pretty funny to see him go from smooth talking, button up Roger Sterling to a legal doctor that's pumping George with all sorts of
Dr. Norman.
all sorts of awful drugs. So that was That was pretty good. It's especially good because his character in Mad Men has started to get into LSD over the last couple episodes, or last season, I guess. So that was that was also pretty okay.
What about Ron Howard?
I think Ron Howard might have been my favorite cameo of this season. I loved the moments where it was like seamless between his narration and his character's voice, like when you can see him on screen.
That like creeped me out.
I thought it was really fun.
I couldn't figure out what was going on. Like the elevator scene. I kind of liked the elevator scene. At first, I felt awkward and uncomfortable, but then I watched it 2 more times and I liked it.
Or when he's getting his having the haircut meeting,
Oh yeah.
and you only see him from the back at first, and so the narration's going, and then it doesn't, content-wise, doesn't match up anymore, and then you pan around to see the front of this guy's head, and he's talking, and it's Ron Howard. That's pretty
Right.
What defines a cameo? Can it only be one episode appearance? Like could oh crap, what's his name? Bark. The other Bark.
Oh, the younger Bart.
Marky Bark. Is Marky Bark a cameo?
Yeah, I think so. He is not a real character, really.
I do enjoy face blindness a lot.
Really?
It's
I have that
probably-
on my list of least favorite things for this season.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Ron Howard being in it was probably one of my least favorite. This
Oh.
is good. We're friends.
No, not
Go on.
anymore.
Yeah, like face blind. It's how can it be your least favorite? It's so good.
It's so
He, like,
contrived.
stares at them and is like, so contrived. What's more contrived about putting the narrator into the show?
Now we're getting down to it.
Where have you seen that happen besides the only good Will Ferrell movie?
How many face blindness episodes have you ever heard of?
Yeah, good point.
I don't really know what my argument is.
No,
I
it's,
don't know
it's
that that's necessarily
face-
good.
the face blindness thing. It's so unrealistic and didn't like fit the pattern of the things that Arrested Development does with their episodes. I thought, like alopecia at least is a real disease, and apparently some people are never nudes.
Come on. Would you like to
face
make a confession?
I have a confession.
Okay.
For 1 year, I think everyone here knows this. For 1 year, I had alopecia.
Yep. Oh, I remember
I remember
that.
that.
Weird.
That
Is
was
that-
really weird. I had it in my beard. I thought that
This
my
year.
housemates were screwing with me and putting hair on my beard while I was asleep. I thought while I slept, I was convinced for like 2 months. For all you listeners, I most certainly have a full head of hair, and well,
It's
I've
true.
got hair
In all the right places.
in all the right places.
Unlike
did-
Sally Sitwell, which was a big reveal of this season.
Sally also has alopecia.
Oh yeah, yes, I do.
It's not too critical, but it was pretty funny.
It was so good.
Pretty sure that
See,
that's
there
not-
are. I feel like these moments are going to grow and grow, and then the subtleties of the other moments will come through, and we'll know them and love them. So, well, let's just go to that. What about our favorite moments or our most subtle jokes that we think maybe the first time through most people didn't catch?
This is one I didn't catch either the first or second time, but my wonderful wife Amy caught and started laughing at when Job and Anne get together, and then she cooks him breakfast the next morning and asks him, "Did you like your eggs?" And he responds with, "Yeah, you were fine."
Yeah.
You were fine.
Mine is very closely tied to that. I didn't get it the first time, but as you said, my wife started just busting out laughing and like would not stop. And I tried to like get it out of her what happened, and she couldn't tell me for the longest time. But it was actually George Michael getting in on the Ann Egg thing, and I forget exactly who he was talking to. It's near the end of the season,
yeah.
but he goes, "Oh, I wouldn't put all my Anns in one basket."
Yeah.
And I was sitting there. Actually, I thought of you, Jeff, because I was like, hands? I don't understand. Hands in one basket? And then
Pancakes in a basket?
she finally stopped and explained it. I was like, oh, man, that's so good. So maybe everyone else got it, but I didn't.
Well, I haven't seen that much yet, so.
Good, I ruined it for you.
Speaking of one more Anne thing, Tony Wonder is in the model home, and Anne comes in. He has clearly forgotten her name. They had an affair, and he says, "Hey, you," and Anne goes, "It's Anne. Awfully funny time to run into you." And he says, "Yes, it is an awfully funny time to run into you also."
And isn't after that he's like, you?
Yeah.
It is an awfully you.
I also like at her wedding that the sign above the altar says her.
Oh, I felt that was like just way too obvious, but I don't know. Maybe
Well,
maybe
it
it
was
wasn't.
the
It
name of
was
the
pretty
church?
obvious.
Yeah, it was the name of the church, something revival
Yeah.
or
Okay.
something like that. Yeah, it took me a second. What about here's a joke that I'm not sure that I get, that maybe other people get it, but they always say before they say Beverly Hills, they say get this. Am I missing something there?
Hmm.
Like it's anytime like the narrator, he's
Right.
like, and he went to get this Beverly Hills, or even the like in the first episode, I think it is, when like the newscaster is like something something and get this Beverly Hills.
Wow, I didn't even pick up on that.
Is that
I think it's just maybe a thing that they do, like always having the stair car run into banners or something. I don't know that there's. I mean, maybe there's another level to it, but I didn't get it.
Yeah, I don't know if it was maybe like an Orange County or California thing, or I don't know because I didn't pick up. I don't know what it is. So no one else.
Yeah, no.
Let's have our loyal listeners write in and tell
Someone
us.
explain
nice.
it to us.
Fastix Nation,
Email opportunity.
or whatever you call yourselves nowadays that you'll also email in about. Let us know, what does the get this Beverly Hills joke mean?
Another pretty subtle joke that I only got because of reading online some reviews and lists and stuff. People throughout the season will eat Parmesan and mustard together because Gene Parmesan, the actor, also played Colonel Mustard in Clue.
Oh,
So
no way.
Parmesan and mustard.
I couldn't figure that out. Like everyone was eating that, and
Yeah.
I couldn't figure out why. I do like show Steeler Pro version or trial version. I think it was a good way for like new watchers of the show, if there are such things, to like know that it was a flashback.
And then it expires.
Oh, also, I didn't understand the first time through that John Beard Jr. is the news anchor's son, and it took me my third view through, I think, through the first 5 episodes. I was like, oh, that kind of makes it so much funnier.
So something else that I realized, and I hadn't put it together, and then it like just dawned on me. I don't even know how late into it, but the club that they always go to and Jeremy Pivot, that's just the credits from Entourage. You know, they have their names on different buildings in the credits of Entourage. One of the actors in Entourage is Jeremy Pivot, and it just says "and Jeremy Pivot" on this building.
He's
and it's
the
that building.
lawyer, right? Ari.
Yeah, I don't even know. I've only seen like 3 or 4 episodes of Entourage, and it took me so long to put it together. But it's the exact same building. It's with his name still on it. Pretty good.
I also really enjoyed the fact that the family had a running joke that Tobias was gay. Like came out and made it like known to Tobias.
Yeah, he was very hurt by that.
I love when he sits next to Job and he's like, "Oh, you look like I feel."
Yeah.
Gay? No. Or 2,000 rupees to go down on Matthew McConaughey.
Oh yeah.
Right, Michael?
I still like Anustart. That was my favorite thing.
I literally got the first time I watched through, I didn't understand it at all. But then I think my second time through, I realized that they didn't really make it obvious until you get to like whatever it is, season or episode 4 or 5.
I think another funny part that I only caught on my second watch was I guess it's probably back to season 1 when George Bluth is in trouble with the law. He's being convicted of light treason, like this made up. No, you don't get convicted of light treason. And then
Right.
Marky Bark in this season, when he finds out that the glitter he used was shrapnel grade, he said that his charges got upgraded from prank bomb to non-Arab terrorism,
Oh yeah.
which was awesome.
I had to ask Liz. I was like, did they just say non-Arab? Oh. Also, I wasn't sure what I thought about at the very beginning. I think it only lasted 2 episodes. I thought it would go throughout, but the not tipping black people.
It's so uncalled for.
I thought that was going to turn into something, and the fact that they only used it for 2 episodes, I was like, I don't know about it now.
No, they used it Always. They used it the rest of the series.
When George finally gives them a $50,000 check to Herbert Love, they say, and when he finally tipped a black man.
That's true.
I think George Michael also, for some reason, is tipping a black person later. I don't really know why.
Yeah,
that was-
you're right.
Oh, he refuses to for something, right?
Maybe that's it.
There was
I can't
one
remember.
point when
Getting
Michael
hazed. I haven't
had
watched this twice.
when Michael had the people moving stuff into his office, and he had already given George Senior crap for it, and then he doesn't tip the movers and shakes their hand and
Yeah, he like reached into his pocket,
Yeah.
just like then like shook their hands.
Smiles.
I guess Tobias did it too, and he like gave him quarters, and they threw it back on the bed.
Oh yeah.
I did love that when Tobias and Lindsay were reaching for each other. You don't know why they can't touch hands, and it zooms out. And they're on like their very own humongous beds.
So they have it.
I love that. Just so we have it.
That writing reminded me of Portlandia, of
Oh, interesting.
Put a Bird on It fame.
I've only seen a couple episodes of Portlandia.
A couple of our, I
Unfortunate.
think Bird's Eye View is a big fan of Put a Bird on It. One of our fellow Orioles podcasts.
Oh, is that what that's from?
Robert
Yeah, so-
Andino's a fan of Put a Bird on It.
Yeah, that was from Portlandia, and then they brought it over for what is that thing where they make a couple fans live in a place in New York and watch all the baseball games of the season?
MLB Fan Cave.
Kid
Yeah,
Nation.
the Fan Cave. One of the Fan Cave episodes. Andino and Jones were putting birds on everything in New York, mostly Yankee logos. Anyway, don't know why we're talking about this, but that writing of
Baseball.
we said we'd talk about it a little.
Speed!
Well, speaking of birds on everything, though, what did you think about all the strange birds in this season?
That's a good point.
The ostriches and the vulture when the mailman dies, and the duck in the Thanksgiving Miracle. That was something.
I can never really be critical of Arrested Development by nature. I didn't like it. I think the vulture was funny the first time, but then, yeah.
I think the duck was one of my favorite parts.
Oh,
of the
yeah,
whole
that's true.
series.
The duck was good.
I love that also it lived. Like, it was already pretty funny. They just, like, put it in the oven. That was already, like, alive.
I did like how when I think it's George, sorry, it was Michael and Job go into the model home, and they walk in, and it's actually Maybe's there, and she, like, yelps, but they think it's a vulture.
Oh,
I like how
yeah.
they play that up. Because you're like, when you first hear it, you're like, that definitely wasn't a vulture, but you're like, oh, it's probably just something stupid they did.
Yeah, so I enjoyed Job and his bees.
Yeah,
Yes.
Someone, I think, when he's driving the limo around, someone wants to open up the back, and he says, I guess he yells bees, and there's a little miscommunication, and they didn't quite understand him correctly.
Beans?
Beans? Yeah,
Bees! Bees!
Why do you have beans?
In his limo.
And then he gets mad at Michael
No
for
way.
starting a company called Michael B's Company.
Oh, yeah, I didn't realize.
Yeah, I remember that.
Michael, oh yeah.
Even recognize
She tries to
it.
explain it. He's like, yeah, we build a... He wouldn't. It would take too long.
Oh, that's why. Okay. Yeah, I feel we touched on this on our Orioles Spastics. Well, I guess this is still a Spastics podcast, but our baseball focused podcast. That I feel like I'm focusing so much on plot, and I want to try to get to know the plot, and I keep listening just for like the plot indicators, and I'm missing the subtle jokes, like, stuff like that. Like, yeah, I'm just like drawn into the plot and didn't really get that. Well done, Michael Hurwitz, and all you guys.
On Netflix.
Netflix. Thanks.
Yeah, so what do we think the legacy of this season is? Does it fit in with the rest of them? Is it a suitable ending? Is it a good standalone thing? Is it a great bridge to a movie? What do you think this will eventually be to us and fans?
Such a good question.
Failure. Utter
Oof.
failure. No, I don't actually believe.
Wow.
I'm still, even though I made my opinion clear that I didn't like it, I'm still kind of reserving my final judgment until after I've seen it the whole season and seen it a couple times.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think it follows up. I feel like the first 3 seasons are ones that I can watch over and over, and I'll still be able to watch them over and over. I don't feel the same way, although I still haven't finished all of it yet. I just don't feel like it's the same type of episodes. They're also a little bit longer too. It's just
Right, yeah, that caught me off guard.
The critics have been pretty harsh on it, and I think that there's not unreasonable arguments about that. But I think that I enjoy it. I really like it a lot. The biggest complaint that they have, or a lot of critics have had, that is really valid, is the fact that they can make it as long or as short as they want. They've really not tried to really punch it in with every single second, every single sentence has a double meaning or as an inside joke, that was amazing about the first 3 seasons, is every single sentence has something about it, and every detail, the background, where people are in the room, everything is very meticulously planned out for the
Blue
sake of
handprints on objects.
right. And it's not that they don't have that there, but there's definitely a little bit of fill. It's sort of hard to ignore that there's definitely a little bit of fill. And I think I thought that they did it so that they could drive home a larger story and plot, which the first 3 seasons didn't really have. But it was a little bit weird to have Arrested Development feel slow for even, and not that it ever was slow for long, but even for 10 seconds, it was like, huh.
Right.
Right.
Hasn't been a joke in a long time.
I feel like the structure of the new season sort of lends itself to that, because so much of that rapid fire, so much of like the rapid fire environment that we expected from the first few seasons, I think has a lot to do with the fact that you have, like, I don't know, a dozen characters in a room at any given time. So there's like endless combinations of different things that can happen. And so when you have these shows, these episodes that are very, very focused on one person, I feel like that structure is built in such a way that I think you lose a lot of that quickness, a lot of that speed. So it is just it's a new show, which is why I think I need, once I do see it once, I will want to see it again, because I think it will probably take some time to grow on me, just because it's a whole different thing to me.
Yeah, what Arrested Development to me now is, like, I use it for just, like, anything, any kind of downtime. Like the first 3 seasons, like, through our entire house renovation, we've been renovating our house here for like a year and a half. And anytime we go to, like, paint a room or something, we'll just put Arrested Development on in the background on loop and just listen to it while we're painting. And it's just like, I don't know, it's just like there in the background, and you know exactly what's going on, even though you can only hear things. And I've kind of wondered, after I've seen this 4th season a few times, is, like, we always pick, like, where to start, I usually end up just starting the middle of a random season. Like, how many times am I going to be like, oh yeah, let's start in the middle of season 4?
Right.
And I don't know the answer to that yet, because I haven't seen each episode 20, 30 times. So
I think what season 4 does offer, though, is a sense of completeness that we didn't get at the end of season 3, when it was obvious the writers were being cut short and the show was ending prematurely, and you just wanted more and more and more. I think season 4 leaves us somewhat more satisfied with saying, oh yes, things have wrapped up.
Yeah, I was wondering if, Charlie, that was what you were getting at first when you first started talking, that, like, they had the opportunity, when Arrested Development came back, they have the opportunity to kind of, like, milk it and to, like, draw it out for, like, another season and then another season, because, like, schmucks like me, like, I'll just lap it up, like, I'm so invested in this series that I would watch anything that came out, I feel like, which is why my opinion probably is very biased. But I appreciate that they're not doing that. They had another shot at bringing it back, and it's in a limited fashion.
Yeah. To answer my own question, I think that what Arrested Development is to me is the first 3 seasons are its own thing that we know and love. I think that the 4th season, even if I do grow to know it and love it as much as the first 3, will feel separate and its own standalone, almost like a really long movie, or a trilogy basically. And I don't know. I think that if it ends with this, I think that will be fine and really great and great quality, and I'll love it all as much as I always have. And I think that if it is indeed setting up for a movie, which is, I think, what the plans have been, I think that they did a great job to really set up the characters, set up a little bit of a storyline. I think it could be really great.
I think the real question is, does the 4th season integrate smoothly into the Arrested Development drinking game that we developed last summer, Charlie?
I can't answer that. I guess I'll have to, my third or fourth time through, I'll have to give it a shot.
So for those of you that don't know, which is everyone that's not me, Charlie, Michael Lefevre, Christopher Schulze,
Ooh, name dropping.
name dropper. We created probably the best drinking game of all time. If you're of age, you can drink adult beverages. If you're underage, you can drink chocolate milk.
What if you're?
But
Can you drink chocolate milk if you're 26?
Nope.
Well, see you later.
And thank you to Jeff Waters. You can follow him at Jeff Waters Music on Twitter. No, but I was wondering, Charlie, like if that could be like that game is like legitly the best thing that ever happened to us. Although later that week we did sink a 16-passenger van in the Chesapeake Bay.
Oh my
We-
God.
we
These
did-
sound
But
great.
it had little to do with that drinking game.
So Ken, this
for-
next episode has to more about these last two things you've been.
I know,
Well,
I feel like
I have some video of that happening, Dean. Maybe I'll put it on our Facebook.
I don't know.
Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter, facebook.com/OrielSpastics, or on Twitter @OrielSpastics, which of course 2 S's, Orioles Spastics. It's key.
Oriole spastic.
Yeah, and an S at the end. Thanks, Kenny. Kenny got it right. Our beautiful logo. Thank you, Kenny. It's beautiful. All right, we got about at the maximum 4 minutes here. How about some clothing thoughts? Arrested Development season 4.
I cannot wait to finish it,
Yeah. Same here. I can't wait.
especially after this great podcast. I've been writing down all the things I need to make sure that I check out.
Well, the
I
good
thought-
news is you can listen to this podcast again, and then you won't have to take notes. You can just
Exactly.
listen to this podcast again and again.
What I'm excited about is actually I kind of made my opinion not clear, but I had my opinion earlier. I'm wondering if I'm going to stick to that or not. I'm interested to see if it'll actually change my mind watching the rest of this season and watching it over and over. I'm excited for that.
Ben, Charlie?
Clothing thoughts. I think we need to take a lesson from George Bluth in episode 6 and embrace whatever sort of clothing feels right for us. If sometimes that's a woman's blouse, sometimes that's a woman's blouse.
I'd say that my clothing thoughts are that we should probably purchase some Bluth original frozen banana shirts to wear to Section 336's Night at the Yard.
I've thought of they're designing such beautiful shirts, though.
I mean,
So I have questions about that. What about bringing frozen bananas?
yeah, but it's going to be tough to get
Share.
into the park.
No, it's not. You can bring anything in there.
Yeah, you can bring in food as long there's like certain containers you can fit it in, and we brought in a bunch of popcorn once.
Really? I think that
Yeah,
we should
so we
make
could-
frozen bananas.
Yeah, we could definitely swing this. No, that's a great clothing thought. My clothing thought revolves around the only thing I knew about season 4 was a photo that I saw on the internet of what I thought to be Tobias in an egg costume. It turns out he was just in some Indian garb. I want to call it a sheet, but I think that's offensive.
Oh, yeah.
He was wearing a sheet, though.
Okay, so he was wearing a sheet. I thought it was an egg. And really the only...
Darn it.
It might have been the only, but one of the only shots of the cutoffs in the 4th season came then when the bus went by and blew up his cutoffs. And that was a great moment for me. Although I was disappointed it wasn't an egg costume. But it was hilarious that the whole thing. Well, so thank you everybody for coming. There's a lot of you. I don't know if you all have things to plug. Thank you, Ben Fisher.
You got it.
He has a wife, Amy Fisher. You can
You got it.
like
Is that
them.
something that he's going to plug? I don't...
Well, that's what I
Kenny,
was
stop
getting at.
listening now.
That's right. That's funny. So also the designer of our logo happens to be Ben Fisher's wife's brother. We're all related. So thanks, Amy. For
This
that.
podcast took a turn for the worse.
Getting hot
Thank
in
you to
here.
Jeff Waters. You know him a lot. He does a lot of fun things for us. He plugs a lot of holes in the piano
Yep.
industry.
I'm much better at podcasts, or I'm much better at doing mashups than I am at doing podcasts. So praise the Lord for that.
You can find him hanging around the local brew pubs of Baltimore, Queen Mary, amongst others.
Yes.
Thank you, Chris Knightsey. You'll hear more of him in the future, obviously, as the Oral Spastics presses on, as well as Charlie Hoppus. Thank you to everyone for listening. Do we have some karaoke to be sung to close out the show today?
When I was a young boy, I played the silver ball. Somebody, no?
From
All right,
Solo
no.
down to Dragon, I must have played them all.
You ain't seen nothing like it. in any amusement park.
That deaf dumb blind kid.
Sure plays a mean pinball. This. Thank you for listening. Drink responsibly.
For the nookie, come on.